Welcome back to Daily Insight. Now today we have a very special guest, Miss Justine Lara Chua. I feel like I shouldn't call you Miss.
I don't know. I'm like, just call me Justine.
Sige, Justine. Okay, so today we are talking about job hunting for graduating college students and career shifters. So Justine,
Yeah.
you are the founder of the Border Collective.
Yes.
So what is the Border Collective?
The Border Collective is a blog that I started that's dedicated to being about internship and job hunting tips for Filipino college students based on my own experience as a Filipino college student who went on internships and job hunting.
So why was it important for you to make this blog? What was your inspiration in creating this?
Back in sophomore year, I was about to fail a class, so I decided, I'm gonna go and find an internship. So I started researching, and I found out that all of the information on the internet is geared to the Western audience, especially to Americans and Europeans.
Yes.
You can find like millions of articles for them, but there was none for Filipinos only, and I got very angry about that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to just build it myself. So I would take all of this advice from Americans and Europeans and like adapt it here to the Philippines and see, okay, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, this works, okay, let's just write that down and say, here's my trial and error, here you go. And just by giving that out, a lot of people like replied, they would send more questions, and I was like, oh, okay, so a lot of people are experiencing this problem. Let's just turn it into a whole blog already.
Yes, and it's good that we have that now for here in the Philippines. Now, for when you created this, what was your background experience? How did you learn all this information when you started the blog?
I was Googling, like, how do you get into the places like Google or Facebook or Apple? And then I would read all of the questions that you had to go through, all of the trials, all the interviews, and then they'd give out all of these experience and tips, and people were making YouTube careers out of saying, this is how I passed the Google interview. And I was like, well, I guess I could write one about how I passed here in P&G and Unilever, and the companies are considered big here in the Philippines. So with that, I only started the blog after I had done 3 different internships at that point. One at Citibank, one at Philip Morris, and then one at Blogapalooza, which is a startup that was previously featured here.
Yes, well, I'm glad now that you are sharing your experience and sharing your knowledge. So now going to our topic, we got a lot of questions. Where did we get these questions from?
I posted a Google form onto my blog's Facebook page and said that we're going to be answering questions live, and anything that you guys want me to answer like right on the spot, just throw it in here. And we got like 50, 60 questions.
Yeah, so unfortunately we can't answer all of the questions, but we've organized it so that at least you can get a certain idea of what to do when you graduate. So first, we are starting with preparing your job application. So one of the questions that we had is, what if the job you are trying to apply to is totally different from the career you have studied for? How should they adjust their application if that's the case?
The first would be to go and get some relevant experience in that field. I know, easier said than done. So what I always advocate is go and do some volunteer work for free or part-time work for free in a company that is not your dream company, but it's like their small competitor there. Like if you want to go into a really big FMCG brand, go find like their local multinationals or local companies that sell beverages and say, hey, I just want to volunteer in this department for a while, I want to do this. Or go to a startup and do that. And start getting some experience, and more importantly, start networking with those people. Get them to know who you are, get them to know that you're a great person, that you're really good, and then just subtly push that, hey, I'm thinking that I want to enter this company, can you help me? And if you really build up this relationship with them and they know that you can deliver good work for free, imagine what you can do if like they pay you. So that'll help you more.
Very good advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it's just you gotta curtail your answers, but with yours, it's most important to show that you have experience in that field. Yeah,
I've had people who are like health science majors who decided last minute, I'm not going to med school, I want to be sales in a multinational. And I was like, okay, well, you can't jump from there to here, but if we put like 4 other steps in between, like you slowly build there, you can get to that sales in the multinational. But a whole year from now, like you gotta spend it.
People are most likely to hire you if you're willing to do it for free.
Yeah.
Okay,
everyone
good
loves free work.
Yes. Okay, going on to the next question. Now, is it best to apply to few targeted companies or apply in all and hope you get accepted?
That's a 2-pronged answer for me. First, the second one where you're just like, using a machine gun method of throwing your resume everywhere.
Yeah.
I advocate that for career fairs, like UP
Okay.
Career Fair or Ateneo Career Fair, where they're really attempting to get as many people as they can.
Mhm.
But if you're sending in an email or you're going in through a specific job portal for them, like that's on their website, you really have to have a targeted resume and a targeted cover letter ready for it.
Oh, so you can't use the same one
Yeah,
for all
you can.
industries. Okay.
I have a CV, a curriculum vitae, which has everything I've ever done on it. It's like 5-6 pages, and I never send it out to people because
Okay.
it's so many things, and you're
Yes,
like, I don't want to do that. But I had it done into a resume that there's one specifically for if I want to go into sales, if I want to go into writing, and if I want to go into like a media job. So it's different per industry. You don't have to
Ayun.
change it per company, but you have to change it per industry, and you should like note it on your computer. This is for marketing. This is for sales. Because if you mess up, they're not gonna come back
That's
for you.
really important to have the right label, marketing resume, marketing CV. Because I made the mistake once of sending the wrong CV to the
Yeah.
wrong industry. Yeah, that didn't go very well.
Yeah.
Okay, so very important to label those things. Now, here's another question. Do HR people really contact your references? I don't have anyone I can put, and I didn't take any internships.
This is really funny because I always say like, yeah, you should put real references, but I've been like a reference on, I don't know, 60, 70 resumes, and nobody's ever called me.
Okay.
So I feel like here in the Philippines, it's more of a formality, and I always say that you should put someone who's relevant to that industry in. If you can say as a reference a vice president of this company, you should put that in. But if you can, just like put a random name in and tell your friend, you have to say something really nice when they
Okay.
call you, okay, I'll libre you food afterwards.
Okay, so if you really don't have anyone, find a friend. What type of friend? What if it's your, like, is it your college mate, your best friend?
I
What
would
type
say
of
someone
person?
that you worked for in
Ah,
college
okay.
who has a good experience with you. If they have a terrible experience with you and you knew that they had a terrible experience with you, don't expect that they'll be nice about it when they call the
okay.
references.
Yeah.
A lot of people would love to quietly sabotage you. That's what
Yes,
I'm saying,
unfortunately. Okay, let's say if someone has no one, they didn't do any work experience, they've got no one to put. They just want to fulfill that requirement of putting someone as a reference. Who can they put if they really have no one?
They should put in their professor, but they should inform their professor ahead of time. Or they should get a relative who has no similar last names with them at all.
Ayun, okay.
And then say, hey, I'm going to put you at this reference. Can you
Yes.
just say these things for me? And you prepare already a little cheat sheet for them to say that, oh, Randy is great. He's amiable. He did a lot of this work for us. Even if it's like a lie, just make sure it's a believable lie.
Ayun.
Don't let them just go off script. You have to prepare it all
Yes.
for them.
Okay, very good tips. I think I might use that one. No, but I have references. Okay, so that's how we are preparing for the job application. In the next part, we are going to talk about handling the job interview. So make sure to stay tuned to Daily Insight. Welcome back to Daily Insight. We have Justine Chua, the founder of the Border Collective. We are talking about job hunting for graduating students and career shifters. Now we are on the portion about handling the job interview. These are the questions that we received on the Border Collective. So one of them is how to answer the question, tell me about yourself.
So I always say you gotta answer it in less than 90 seconds. You can't go on a ramble of like, this is my entire life story. It started with
Yes.
being born in UST in 1995. No,
Okay.
you gotta start off with facts. I'm Justine Chua, 21 years old, graduating student at Ateneo. And then you talk about what do you spend your free time on? What's the thing that you do most productively around? Like, I've had people say that, oh, I'm the national cup stacking champion, so I like to teach kids with motor problems about how to cup stack because it helps.
Wow.
And it's like, you know, that doesn't help you in your career, but it tells a lot about you right away.
Yeah.
I talk
Okay.
about how I learned the blog, and I'm like, I learned influencer marketing, content marketing, social media marketing by actually running a blog and then writing it all down and then sharing this out with people because I'm very angry at how the system is currently.
But okay, so but the hobbies that you're mentioning are still related to career and professionalism in your advocacy. Mine, it can be like, oh, I like watching movies. I mean, is that still? That was my mistake in my first job interview. I had no idea what to say, so I just talked about, oh, this is what I did yesterday.
So I think you shouldn't be talking about what you do every single day. I think it's something that you're really passionate about. I've had people say that I'm really interested in documentaries about food, specifically about how do you get it from farm to the table. And they talked a little bit about it and why they were so interested in it. And the point of the tell me about yourself question is to give the interviewers a jumping point for them to ask you more questions. And this is where you should be pushing out life capital. Life capital is interesting things about you that you didn't write into your resume, but something that you always talk about with your friends.
Okay, like accomplishments, things like that? Okay, what if, for me, when I was first graduating college, I had no accomplishments. What do I do in that case?
Then you talk about something you enjoyed doing during college. Like, let's say you enjoyed partying, but you also enjoyed managing those parties, scheduling it, cleaning it up, saying that I really enjoyed the logistics of partying. I wanted to party hard, but I also wanted to make sure that everyone had enough alcohol at the table. Everyone was able to safely get home. There was nobody passed out in the bathtub at the end of the day. And that was something that I took on as my own responsibility.
I don't know if people do that. At least now they have that option that they can discuss about that. Okay, next to the next other question is, how do you answer the question, what are your weaknesses?
First off, a lot of people just get like the generic ones off the internet, like, oh, I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
You can't say that. Everyone is going to roll their eyes at you like, oh, you're a perfectionist.
Okay.
Sure.
So what's the right answer?
Here, I always say, like, the fast way is to go look at, like, what's your Hogwarts house? What's your MBTI? What's your horoscope? Look at the weakness from there and then take that and then say that, oh, one of my weaknesses is, like, I'm a Scorpio. So I'm really hot-headed and I'm really passionate about things. So I would say, I get too passionate sometimes during arguments that I'd like to argue for the sake of arguing. I just want us to get to the best answer, and sometimes I feel like I only have the best answer. But I'm working on it. I've been trying to listen more and to speak less, and that when I do speak, it's in measured sentences. Like, I don't raise my voice. The key to answering the what are your weaknesses is, this is my weakness, this is how I'm fixing that weakness.
Okay, so that's important. It's not just to list your weaknesses, but it's talking about how you're doing the solution to fix that. You also mentioned Hogwarts house. I mean, how is that related?
When you're in a Hogwarts house, like, oh, I'm in Ravenclaw. Oh, my strength there is that I'm a really good thinker. We all like to think like, oh, look at this random horoscope on the internet. That's me. That's me. That's me.
Okay.
So just find something in there that feels like you, and then just work from it.
Okay.
Apply it into a situation that really happened to your real life, and then talk about how you're trying to fix that situation long term.
Okay, so that's the real answer, is to do the weakness, but the solution about how you're fixing that. Okay, a lot of people always forget to use the time. At the end of the interview asks, do you have any questions for me? And people say, no, I don't have any questions. Wrong move. But what are the questions that they should be asking the interviewer?
First off, I would say that ask about the culture there, but don't say, what's the culture here like? You're supposed to know that from your research there. What's better to say is, I heard the culture here is like this, and then list some examples. Even if they're wrong examples, just list something down and say, is it true? And then they'll talk about it. And the other things you can ask is, how about you? Why have you stayed in the company this long? What attracted you here in the first place? And more importantly, if you're going for a line manager role, like you're already interviewing with your future boss, just say, what are the traits that you think someone successful in this role should have, and also, what is your everyday like? Where do you see me adding value to there? Where do you see me like taking over some responsibilities and going through that? You need to be showing them that I'm already thinking about future success in this company in a non-arrogant way. I want to be a helper.
Yes. Some of the wrong questions is, how much does this pay? How much
when do I get paid leave? What's
Can
my
I get my vacation?
Like? Is it flexi time? Can I work from home? There's like a million questions that sound very arrogant coming out. Like, reserve that for when the contract's right in front of you and before you sign, like, hey, I have a few questions.
Yes, okay. So for people now, when they are applying to multiple jobs, they've done multiple interviews, one person asked, how do they know when to settle for a job offer? Their dream job hasn't come yet, but they've already received multiple. How do they know when is the right time to pick one of them?
I would say that you can actually feel it in your heart, like, that's such a
generic answer.
That's a generic answer. You can feel it in your heart, but you really can. I advocate trusting your gut, because your gut knows more than your brain does. Your gut can tell, like, I like this person. I can trust this person. I like my manager. I can trust my manager. I like the environment of the office. If you can, ask them, like, hey, can I go spend a day in the office just shadowing someone and then learning what it's like? And you can see, what are their meetings like? How do people talk in the hallways? Do people, like, go out for lunch together? Are they about on culture? You need to go in and see, do I like doing any of this? Is this what I want to do? Like, I specifically, I'm not into baon culture. I like to eat out all the time.
Like me.
But if everyone there just baons, you have to baon too. So you have to
okay.
understand, okay, do I want to change that about me enough? Like,
Yes.
oh, I'm going to come in.
But I didn't know that, you can do that. I didn't know that you could ask the employer, oh, can I just see what a day is like? Can I come here and to see the people?
You can, a lot of employers will say no. And if they do, then, that's like a red flag. You can just ask why. And then some of them will be afraid, like, oh, you won't want to come here after you see what it's like. We want to trap you in the contract first. And that's, an instant way to know, oh, this job offer is not a good idea.
So if you still don't know yet, do additional research. Ask them if you can see what their day is like. So that way you can decide which is the right job for you.
Another thing is, like, to look up on LinkedIn someone who's already working there, who's near your age, and then just ask them questions like, hey, I got a job offer from here. I might be working with you soon. I need to ask you questions like, what's it like here? What are your hours like? Do you get to see your family at all? When you go on vacation, can you really turn off your work phone and it's gonna be okay?
Yeah,
like that.
That's a good tip. Contact someone who's already working there to get an idea of what's the culture like there. Okay, we're gonna continue with our interview. Next, we're gonna talk about the questions for the people who want to make a shift in their career. So stay tuned to Daily Insight. Welcome back to Daily Insight. We have Justine Chua. We are talking about job hunting. Now for this part, we are going to talk about those who want to make a shift in their career. So before we go to that part, we actually had a question that says, how to enjoy a job you do not love. So before someone shifts to another career, what is your answer to this question?
First, try to find something in your job right now that you actually enjoy. Is it like the clients that you're talking to, the people around you, the free coffee in the machine?
Okay.
Find a small thing that makes it bearable first, because I talked to a lot of doctors about it. Because people get physically ill if they really hate their workplace. And
That's true.
I thought that was mumbo jumbo. I was like, that doesn't seem real. And then doctors are like, actually, if you really hate it every day and you're feeling all of this negativity all the time, your immune system weakens, you get really sick, and it makes you burn out a lot faster. And I was like, oh.
Yes. Well, because a lot of people, they don't have that opportunity to shift careers because they need to pay for rent, pay for bills. So like what you said, look for something first that you love, that you can enjoy. Now, if that really doesn't work, then maybe now it's the time to start thinking about shifting in career. So this question that we have is, how long should you stay at your first job before switching to a new one?
Ideally 2 years, but if you really cannot stand it, then you need to leave at the end of the 6 months of the regularization period. But you need to talk about it with the HR, like slowly leading up in the 4th, 5th month. Say that I'm starting to think that, this is not a good long-term fit for both of us. And I want to explore other career options, either in a different department here or like outside. But I want to start within the company first. Just ask I want to move inside the company first. Exhaust all your options before looking outwards. Because sometimes it's just a departmental problem, and sometimes just a boss problem, and you can ask to be shifted. And if HR seems like, no, we're not going to do any of that, then that's when you start looking outside.
Explore your options first within your company and keep the minimum 6 months. Because let's say, for example, if you interview at another job and I see in your resume, you didn't even last 6 months. So maybe it's not the work, but maybe it's you that something's wrong. Okay, going now to the next question. How do you get a reference from your current superiors when looking for another job?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't ask your current superiors, especially if this is going to be like a secret job hunt. If you're trying to keep it down low, you don't want them to like sabotage you from leaving, because what if they want to keep you there because you're doing all of the work for them and you're being burnt out and they get to enjoy their lives? Of course they're not gonna let you go. What's better is to get it from your previous superiors, like literally before this, like any professors or anyone from your previous internship, or like I said earlier, a relative whose name is totally unlike yours.
Yes. Okay, good. So look for someone else, because that raises a red flag. You might even lose your current job.
Yeah, you'll lose it. It's easier to find a job when you still currently have one. It's hard when you're unemployed, because that raises a lot of new questions like, why are you unemployed?
Yeah, okay. So going on to the next question. Now for the people who are looking for a different industry. Let's say they've studied something, they've studied medical, they wanted to be a doctor, and then they started working in the health industry, and now they want to shift into a brand new industry. What are some tips? Like, I want to do sales and marketing now. What are some tips that you can give me to making that shift? What should I do before shifting industries?
First, you need to find people who are already in that industry and start talking to them first about what's it like there, what is their work like. Because sometimes we have this like idealized picture of the sales and marketing world, like, yes, I'm going to do amazing sales work and I'm going to bring 1 million pesos for the company. But in reality, it's a very different. You want to get a clear idea before you jump in, because maybe it's not that what you're looking for, and
Okay.
you're gonna have a difficult time.
Yes.
Once you have a clear idea, like, okay, this is it, I really want to go into this, you need to start making more friends in the industry by doing some part-time or volunteer work for free. Get some real relevant
free?
experience.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
because nobody's gonna get mad at you if you're doing things for free. They can't.
That's true.
They can't demand stuff from you. They can't ask you to do anything like
Yes.
terrible. If you're working for free, you're literally just doing it out of the kindness of your heart. So in return, they'll also feel some kindness towards you. And if you're
Yes.
giving consistent great work during those free times, they're gonna recommend you for a job. Maybe not at that current place, but somewhere else. They know
Yes.
people. The Philippines is really, really small. We all know each other. Like, I know 7 of the previous guests of this show.
Yes.
Because we all went to the same school. So everyone knows someone else, and your network is your best chance of getting somewhere. If someone good is willing to put their neck on the line and say, you know, Randy, he might have been health science, but I think he's really good, and I think we should just take a risk on him, even if it's just for like an interim period.
Yes. Okay, so that's a very good tip. Look, instead of going to a new industry without having any experience, try and get some work here and there, you know, from your friends, from your network, and if you can, do it for free. For me personally, I don't want to do anything for free.
Yeah, I've never done an internship like for free.
Even your first internship.
Even my first internship paid a lot. Like,
how did you get that paid internship from the very beginning?
I had created like this resume based on everything I'd learned from Google, and then I sent it out to every single company in the Ateneo Career Fair, and Citibank ended up calling me back. I was the youngest person in the room. I was literally still a sophomore when I was in there, and I could see all the seniors just staring at me angrily, like, oh no, stop staring at me.
Yeah.
This was a one-day hiring.
Wow.
And then like looking back, I can tell I had a lot of problems in that interview, but from that perspective, I could tell that they saw that I was energetic, I was willing to do anything, and I was really young. The fact that I was still in that room meant that, you know, there's something in me that most other people don't.
Yes.
And so they took that chance on me, and I got paid like
Yes.
$300 a day to
Wow,
go and
good
like
for
work
you.
on finding.
Now, what's good, I think that you mentioned is you did a lot of research on Google and things like that. You found the right and wrong answers, even though you personally didn't have any experience. The fact that you put in the effort to do the research and to practice those interview questions is really important.
Yeah. A lot of people just think that, oh, you know, I know the answers. I can bring it out right there on the spot. No, you don't.
That was my mistake. My first few interviews, I thought I know, you know, I can do this, but the fact it's different from actually saying it out loud and practicing it with another person and being it on the spot. Yeah,
especially if there's like a table in front of you and they're not looking at you because they're writing down, you're gonna feel a lot of pressure, and you're gonna say things that are stupid, or at the end of it you're gonna say, why did I say that?
Yes.
Because you didn't have it prepared. Like, your mouth wasn't ready to say any of these things.
A good tip also to practice in front of the mirror.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
I don't like doing that because you look at yourself in the mirror and you get really distracted. My favorite is to get your phone, because you have smartphones.
Yes.
You put it at the side, like diagonal to you, and you have it film you.
Ah,
I've had people do that, and they found out like terrible things about themselves in the interview. One girl, she found out that she does this. Hello, I'm I was like, oh.
Maybe she didn't know that her lips are chapped.
She didn't know she would do that.
And now I feel self-conscious now about my lips now that you told me.
Yeah, you know, everyone should feel a little self-conscious when they're doing the interview. Not super self-conscious.
Yes. We have some other questions now that I think is really important to address from some of the fans of Border Collective. One of them says, do college students coming from provincial schools stand a chance in the very competitive job market in Manila? So what's your answer to that?
Like, I'm not the Bible on this, but I think they do stand a chance, because the fact that they're coming here and they want to try to make it here says a lot about like their determination and grit. The problem is, a lot of companies are gonna not want to take a chance on you because they're going to say, okay, what if you get homesick on day 4? What are we gonna do? What if you want to go home? So you have to sort of show somehow that, you know, I've been here for a while, I've been doing some internships here, I'm putting in roots. I'm not gonna disappear like next week because I feel like I want to go home.
Okay, that's really important.
And I think it's also important to just say that, you know, maybe I do want to go back home, but I want to go back home after 2-3 years, or I want to go back home like with the company. I've known some people who will go into like big companies or multinationals and say, I'm gonna start here, but I want my long-term career plan to move me back home because I want to be
same
home.
company but new assignment in a different branch.
Some people, they're the ones who open the regional office in their hometown because they're like, oh, I'm good, you know that. I want to bring in people like me, and I also want to see my family more.
Yeah, so for those who are in the provinces, you still have a chance. You gotta make sure that you prove to your interviewer that you are gonna have roots here, that you're gonna give value to the company, and then like what you said, if you have that option, at least to prove to them that you're willing to help expand the company.
Yeah.
Another question that we had, someone who is a student, they're asking, is it okay to rest for a year after graduation? How does it affect their job prospects?
If you spend that whole year just like lying down and watching TV and going on vacations, it's going to ruin your job prospects because you haven't been doing anything productive. But I've had a lot of friends who have been taking the past 6 months off because they want to go and find themselves. They've been doing lots of random, free, productive volunteer work. I've had a friend who decided like, I'm going to volunteer at an art gallery, and so he sells paintings sometimes on top of going to colleges and helping revise their curriculums. He does all of these random things in the hopes of figuring out what does he really want to do long term. And I think maybe he's going to go into entrepreneurship. Maybe he'll go to a big company. None of us know, but he's slowly getting there. He's learning, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes. So if you're going to take that year off, at least do it with things that give value.
Yeah.
Discover yourself, explore the other options, get internships, getting experience, so that way you're not wasting a year just sitting at home, not doing anything. So we've learned so much. I mean, we've learned a lot. And you have so much tips to give. For our viewers who have questions, who want to know more, how can they learn more from you? You know?
They can go to my website, www.thebordercollective.com, or they can go to like any blog post there. At the end of it, there'll be a link to a Google form where you can turn in your questions anonymously, or you can drop it into ask.fm/thebordercollective. But it's very personal, situational, and you want me to answer it a lot more quickly, you can send me an email at justine@thebordercollective.com, or drop me a message on Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn at JustineLT.Chua.
Ayun. So that's for all of the people who have your questions. Justine can answer them on the Border Collective. So we want to thank Justine for sharing us your insights. We learned so much. I wish I learned this when I was still job hunting, but we'll see. Maybe in the future. Okay, we'd like also to thank our sponsor, the Arena Weekend Market. Join us for fitness and fun every Saturday and Sunday. So these are mornings filled with meaningful business talk. I am your host, Randy Bernardino, and this is Daily Insight.